Hope everyone's having a pleasant day. We're driving through Reno, Nevada this morning. It's a beautiful, clear day, 55 degrees. And we're headed out on the final leg of our trip to DLA Tracy in Northern California. The truck has gone a total of 2,200 miles in just under 4 days. And that's not too bad. That's around, 500 miles a day, 500, 600 miles a day. No big deal. And we're in our 2021 F-150 with the 3-liter diesel, the 10-speed 10R80 transmission, which is what all F-150 diesels came with. 4-wheel drive, 6.5-foot bed, XLT package with 12-inch CarPlay and all those other things. And the FX4 suspension, which we were not a fan of in our Power Boost, but when you've got a ton of weight loaded up in the bed of the truck, either cargo or hitch weight on a gooseneck or a fifth wheel, that FX4 with those stiffer shocks actually helps you out a lot because it helps control the motion of the truck and keeps it from porpoising and getting squirmy the way it might otherwise be inclined to. Our trailer is the 28-foot Featherlight gooseneck, enclosed, all aluminum. Empty weight about 4,500 pounds. Loaded up, it's 8,000 pounds today, maybe 8,500. And that makes for a total weight between the truck and trailer of about 14,000 pounds. Our max GCW gross combined weight is 16,000 pounds. So we're at about 88% of the total truck and trailer weight that you can legally operate with this thing. It doesn't have the max tow package, which would have raised up the GCW another I forget how much. It would have raised up the GVW, the gross vehicle weight rating, about 250 pounds. Not a hell of a lot, but it gives you a little more hitch weight to play with and a little more payload for passengers or cargo. But as it is, we have been nothing but impressed by this truck and the way it has gotten us through the Rockies, and we took I-80 through Wyoming, which is a lot less intense of a test on your vehicle than I-70 through Colorado. In Wyoming, I think your max elevation is just over 7,000 feet. In Colorado, when you go up over Loveland Pass or Vail Pass, you're at 11,000 plus, and you're going up and down very, very steep inclines. And that's a tremendous test of the engine, the transmission, the brakes, the ability of the truck to keep itself, under control as you're going downhill, down a long, long, steep descent. And so we have not experienced that. But again, we have experienced the Rockies going through Wyoming. By the way, that's downtown Reno there. Very, very pleasant view. Similar to Vegas, but a little bit cleaner, smaller, a little bit less seedy and disgusting. And a lot less hot in the summer, that's for damn sure. In any case, we were not sure how this truck was going to work because, again, it's only got a little 3-liter diesel, tiny little engine. It's got the 331 axle ratio, which is not ideal for towing. If you're looking to buy one of these and you are looking to do a lot of towing with it, as we do, you want a 355 or a 373. You don't want a 331. It's great for gas mileage, but it kills your power, and it has the effect of making it feel like you're constantly driving uphill because it gives you that much less leverage. It's about 11 or 12% less leverage over the rear axle, otherwise known as mechanical advantage, as compared to the 373. And so it means you're always in a lower gear. It means you're downshifting a lot more even when you're going up a slight incline, because it's that much harder to keep the engine in the power band. And the power band for this little engine, this again, it's a little 3-liter diesel, is anywhere from 2,000 to 2,500. You don't want to be below 2,000 when you're towing heavy with it. And again, towing heavy with an F-150 with the diesel is anything over about 5,000 or 6,000 pounds, let alone at 8,000. But that being the case, again, we were pretty impressed. with how well it held up in the Rockies yesterday. We went through Wyoming and the sort of northeastern part of Utah, and we went through almost all of Nevada yesterday, about 800 miles, and it did pretty well. It was able to make it up most inclines in either 8th gear or 7th gear, and typically we were downshifting to 7th gear. But it kept the speed up. It kept the speed at between 60 and 65 uphill. And that's knowing that you have to carry a lot of momentum into the uphill climbs when you're coming back downhill. And so when you're, toward the bottom of a downhill descent and you're about to go back up, yeah, sometimes you want to add a decent amount of speed. And the speed limit is 80 for the majority of this drive, again, through Wyoming, Utah, and Nevada. And so you would carry somewhere between 70 and 75 into an uphill climb at the end of a long downhill. It's not really a good idea with this much trailer to carry more than 75 miles an hour. Even briefly into an uphill, because you just have that much less of a margin of safety. If you can see, there's a massive amount of traffic in Reno, at least going the other direction, because thousands and thousands of people have fled to Reno from California over the last decade or so. Tens of thousands, or maybe hundreds of thousands. Sacramento is only a couple hours west of here. You just go through the Sierra Nevadas, through Lake Tahoe, and you're in Sacramento. But the taxes, the cost of living, the regulations, everything. It's a world of difference between Nevada and California. And people are taking advantage of that fact. In massive numbers. By the way, Salt Lake City was pretty jam-packed also, because a ton of people are moving there. Although the air quality, it was awful. When you came out of the canyon that leads from Park City down into Salt Lake City, it looks as if you're going into LA from the 1970s. The amount of smog and haze, it was soupy. It was disgusting. And so for that reason alone, I think a lot of people are choosing not to move to Salt Lake City and moving instead to a place like Reno, maybe Las Vegas, although most Californians wouldn't want to put up with that desert heat. A lot of them are moving up to Boise. We know a number of people who moved up to Boise, but Reno is a very good option if you still need to be near California but don't want to be in California. As long as you can tolerate the fact that I-80 through Lake Tahoe is going to be shut down a lot in the winter because of snow. And so companies that move their distribution, for instance, from California to the Reno area, overall it's a good idea. But again, there are those times when you're trying to ship to California and I-80 is completely shut down for days at a time. And you got a lot of ticked off customers as a result. But that's immaterial. This engine, by the way, the 3-liter so-called Power Stroke, or baby Power Stroke, it's not clear as to the longevity of this thing. We've been running it for, again, about 4 days now at high load, high boost, 20 plus PSI. And it hasn't shown any signs of trouble. It's at 80,000 miles, which isn't a lot of miles. But it's not making any funny noises. It's not blowing any smoke. It doesn't have blow-by. It's not burning oil. And it's not consuming much oil. But it is a point of concern. Specifically, how long does this engine last when you're running it to the limit on a constant basis? It was not built for heavy towing. If you're doing a lot of heavy towing constantly, that's why they make the F-150. That's why there's a Super Duty. But again, we just thought we'd put it to the test with a decent sized load, 5 pallets of freight. And again, between the truck and trailer, we're at around 14,000. The trailer alone is about 8,000, or maybe close to 8,500. of which 7,000 is on the trailer axles. And again, no issues with the trailer. We were going through some really, really heavy winds in Nebraska, and they were headwinds. But we had a little bit of buffeting and side winds in Wyoming and Utah, and a little bit yesterday going through northern Nevada. But because it's a gooseneck, it wasn't doing any swaying at all, the way a conventional trailer would. And so most people, when you hear about them getting blown off the road or jackknifed or put into a ditch, it's because they had a conventional trailer. Meaning a bumper pull that you attach to your receiver hitch. A gooseneck just doesn't have that problem almost ever, and so we almost never ever use a bumper pull or a conventional trailer for any amount of distance when we're towing, because the safety factor and the comfort level, it's an entirely different world. And if you've driven with a gooseneck or a fifth wheel, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That being the case, though, you still want to have a decent amount of weight in your trailer, because when it's unloaded, a gooseneck still has the aerodynamics of a barn door, and it's still going to get pushed around a little bit, or I should say a decent amount by the wind. And that's why 18-wheelers get knocked over in heavy winds. And we've been through Kansas, and there were like a couple of dozen 18-wheelers that had been knocked over by the heavy winds that had just blown through. So it's just something to keep in mind. You want to have weight on that trailer to keep it planted, even if it's a gooseneck. But what's the long and the short of this? Again, if you do a lot of towing and you don't think you need a heavy duty, meaning an F-250/350, or a heavy duty Ram or a heavy duty Duramax, you'd be amazed at what you can do with a light duty with a diesel engine. Keep it in mind its limitations. Keep it in mind the fact that it was not built for years and years of heavy towing. You've got a light duty transmission and a light duty engine, and so it's not the kind of thing you want to do if you're like a hotshot trucker and you live on the road, or if you tow more than about 6,000 or 8,000 pounds consistently. But if you do it every now and then, it's actually a great idea. And keep it in mind that the only light duty diesel that's still in production is the 3.0 baby Duramax in your Silverado or your Sierra 1500. That's not a bad engine. A lot of people love that engine. I know it's got that issue with the wet belt that drives the oil pump, and the earlier one had some other issues like starting. I can't remember what they all were, because we don't own one, so we have no experience with it. But it's a good engine, and the truck is a decent truck. We're not a fan of that steel body. We're hooked on these aluminum bodies because they're never going to rust. And the F-150s from 10 years ago, the first ones they built that were aluminum, which were the 2015s. Those things are a decade old now, and they are in great shape, and people love them because the body is practically going to last forever, even if you live in the snow belt or a place like this, Reno, Tahoe, where you get a decent amount of snow in the winter and salt on the roads, and you get little scuffs and scrapes, that dig through the paint and expose the bare metal. And in a regular truck, that just starts rusting on you. Even our 3500 Dodge, which is in San Diego, which has great weather, it's got enough humidity in the air blowing in from the ocean that, we're starting to have rust in the wheel wells because it's got a steel body. So, something you want to think about if you keep your vehicles for a long time. We keep our trucks forever. Our Ram 3500 is 22 years old and going strong. And we hope to keep this thing forever. So, if that's your mentality with vehicles, just keep it in mind. An aluminum body will never rust on you. All right, I think it's all for now. Again, couldn't be happier with this truck, and we're surprised and astonished by how well it made it through the Rockies, through Utah, through northern Nevada. We're about to head into the Sierra Nevadas here, and so we'll see how it does going up through Donner Pass and Truckee, Lake Tahoe area, and we'll keep you posted on it. Well, have a great day, everyone. We'll talk to you later.